Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
Narayanam Namaskritya.
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य
Chaiva Narottamam.
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
Ujayamudhiraye.
ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्।
Srinvatam Swakatah Krishna.
शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण
Nishravana Kirtana.
पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः
Vidyantasto hiya bhadrani.
हृदयन्तस्थो हे भद्राणि
Dhunoti suhritsatam.
विधुनोति सुहृत्सताम्।
Ashtaprayeshva bhadreshu.
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
Tyam bhagavata sevaya.
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
Bhagavati uttama shloke.
भगवती उत्तमश्लोके
Tir bhavati naishtiki.
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी।
Krishnaya vasudevaya.
कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय
Devaki nandanaya cha.
देवकी नन्दनाय च
Nanda gopakumaraya.
नन्दगोपकुमाराय
Govindaya namo namaha.
गोविन्दाय नमो नमः।
Hare Krishna devotees, welcome back after I think a few weeks of gap in the class. So we are in this chapter, Purusha Sukta Confound, where the process of creation is being discussed between Vyasadev, Narada Muni and Brahma. So recently I had one realization. If you look at Bhagavatam, the whole of Bhagavatam, you will see so many wonderful devotees, and of course, the pastimes of creation. Among all of this, the one character that comes commonly between various devotees is who? The one most common factor. Who is the spiritual master of Prahlad Maharaj?
नारद मुनि।
नारद महामुनि।
Who is the spiritual master of Dhruv Maharaj?
नारद मुनि।
नारद मुनि।
Sanpad.
नारद मुनि।
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And who goes to Krishna? Narada Muni. If you look at Narada Muni is everywhere. You think
Yes.
about why Narada Muni is so prominent in Bhagavatam.
सतत कीर्तयन्तो माम्।
Yeah, that is there. Vyasadeva is a disciple of Narada Muni.
Yes. Yes. Oh,
Naturally, a
yes.
disciple is attached to his guru and his
Guru.
guru. So
Amen.
you can see like how Narada Muni is so
The
attached to
connection.
his guru in all his pastimes. I was wondering, wow, this is so
That's
focused on
that's
his guru in every part. Prachini Barhi, Prithu Maharaj, everywhere he is there. Not
yes.
just
Yes.
Narada Muni in any chapter, any canto.
Mm.
So, and again, the whole creation process, this is all discussed in Parampara. There is a discussion between Brahma and Narada Muni. Who is Brahma? Guru of Narada Muni.
Guru.
Then there
Yes.
also, you can see
Guru parampara.
whatever
Yes.
Vyasadeva is speaking is all what he heard in Parampara, and
Mm.
whatever he is doing is all glorification of his Guru. In a way.
Evam praptam.
Evam Parampara Praptam.
Yes. Amazing, Prabhu. Jay, thank you for sharing your realization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of karta kriya, Prabhu.
Yeah.
It's karta kriya, either karta or kriya.
Yeah. So here, so this chapter primarily discusses about the process of creation. So we discussed on how the various elements are formed. Everything comes ultimately from Krishna. Right? So now we are in the last section. Let's go to there. Tanmatras, all of this we discussed. Yeah. So ultimately, Brahmaji says to Narada Muni, the disciple. Hmm? Yeah. So we cannot know Krishna fully, but it doesn't mean that we don't glorify. We glorify his activities to the extent we understand. That's what he says. That is the conclusion towards the end. So though I have high qualities, I cannot still understand Krishna. That is the confession of Lord Brahma himself. Imagine. But whatever I say will come true because I hold Krishna in my heart. So whatever he spoke, so the whole process of creation that he spoke is all perfect because he holds Krishna in my heart. You see? So it means only a bhakta can be like speak like this. You see? Yeah. So let's go to the second part today. So this is description of Mahavishnu and his role. How everything is. That's samstham is the final question asked by Narada Muni. How everything is again goes back to Mahavishnu. So that is being discussed in the next few verses. Let's read the verses. Do you see the verses? Do you see the Word document?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji, we can see.
Saesha Adhyah Purusha
स एष आद्यः पुरुषः
Kalpe Kalpe Srijantyaja
कल्पे कल्पे सुजत्तजः
Atmanatmani Atmanatmanam
आत्मात्मानि आत्मात्मानं
Samyachati Paticha Paticha.
स्वयं
इति
यच्छति
पाति च
पाति च
Sayedhya Adhyah Purusha. Adhyah Purusha means he's the original, the original Supreme Lord. Purusha is refers to Garbhodaksa Vishnu. Kalpe Kalpe Srijatyaha. Srijatyaha means how Kalpe Kalpe, every Kalpa is like one breath of Garbhodaksa Vishnu. No, actually,
Kalpa is a one day of Brahma, right?
one day of Brahma. Yeah. So in one day of Brahma, the whole creation, the whole thing will manifest, right? So in one day of Brahma, Kalpe Kalpe Srijatyaha, the creation continues. And what happens during that time is described in the Atman Atmani Pati. Pati means maintenance. So he's the one. See, he's the one who creates. Srijati, he's the one who creates. Kalpe Kalpe, he creates. But then Atman, he's the source for maintenance, Pati. And he's also the source for the dissolution, or he's the one who retains the whole creation again at the end of Kalpa. Samyachati means absorbs back. So Atmanatmani Pati, Atmanatmani Samyachati.
संयच्छति
Samsayachati. No, Samyachati.
संयच्छति sorry.
So he is the one who creates. He is the one who maintains. Pati. Pati means one who takes care. Pati is also called husband or maintainer. Samyachati, again, who is the one who actually absorbs back the whole creation that was created. Yeah. So ultimately, Lord is the supreme cause. He's the supreme maintainer. He's the supreme absorber or the maintainer of the dissolution also. Yeah. Please read.
That supreme original personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, expanding his plenary portion as Mahavishnu, the first incarnation, creates this manifested cosmos, but he is unborn. The creation, however, takes place in him, and the material substance and the manifestations are all himself. He maintains them for some time and absorbs them into himself again.
Clear, right? So, but that Mahavishnu is what? He is actually a portion of the
Plenary.
he is a plenary portion. Means he is one manifestation of Lord Krishna, right? Yeah. So continue here.
The impersonalist gives stress to the impersonal form or feature of the Lord and does not believe in the original personality of the Lord. But the Vaishnavas accept the original form of the Lord, of whom the impersonal form is merely one of the features. The impersonal and personal conceptions of Lord are existing simultaneously. And this fact is clearly described both in the Bhagavad Gita and in the Srimad Bhagavatam and also in other Vedic scriptures.
Yeah. So impersonalists trust the impersonal form or features of the Lord, and they believe that Lord doesn't have a form. But here you can see he is the one who is maintaining. If he is the one who is maintaining, he must be very conscious. He is very personal. He's the one who is maintaining, creating, and again absorbing. How he can be impersonal? He is very personal. He's the one doing all of this.
The impersonalists depend more or less on inductive logic, and therefore they always remain in the darkness about the original personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Their conception of Krishna is not clear, although everything is clearly mentioned in all the Vedic scriptures. A poor fund of knowledge cannot comprehend the existence of an original form of the Lord when he is expanded in everything. This imperfectness is due more or less to the material conception that a substance distributed widely in parts can no longer exist in the original form.
Hmm. So this is their misunderstanding. They think, generally in the material world, if something is manifested, the original object will be lost because it is distributed, right? So that is the understanding, material conception, right? A substance distributed widely in parts can no longer exist in the original form. If if you take something, if you take a paint bottle, if you apply the paint on the wall fully, the paint bottle becomes empty. That is how material things work. But that is only material calculation. In spiritual conception, that is not how it works. 1 plus 1 equal to 1, 1 minus 1 is also 1, right? So it's Purnam. But whatever comes from Purnam is also Purnam, right? It's like infinite whole numbers. There are infinite number of whole numbers. And within that set, there are infinite number of even numbers. There are also infinite number of prime numbers. There are also infinite number of odd numbers. You can see there are so many infinites coming from this one infinite. So it is something like that. So the Supreme Lord is also like that. Even though there could be the n number of infinite object coming out of him, he still retains his original full potency. Right? So that materialistic people won't understand because the material conception blocks that understanding. So that's why when so the impersonalists depend on inductive logic. Inductive means based on what you observe, you derive the conclusions, right? So what you can observe materially is only physical, and physical is material. And for whatever you observe material, the understanding you gain is also material. So you cannot conclusively understand anything spiritual. And so impersonalism is a material conception of spirituality. You cannot accept anything beyond material conception. That is when you become an impersonalist. Because you cannot believe that a single person can be so powerful, right? Because in our experience, everybody we see is limited by their abilities. So how can they won't accept? How can the form like ours, when Lord comes in the form like ours, how can he be so powerful? How can he be God? So that kind of you know material conception blocks their understanding to you know limited understanding of God. You see, so impersonalism is a flawed partial understanding of God. Yeah, go ahead.
So this Mahavishnu is the first incarnation in the creation, and from him all the universes are generated and all material manifestations are produced one after another. The causal ocean is created by the Lord as the Mahatattva, as a cloud in the spiritual sky, and is only a part of his different manifestations. The spiritual sky is an expansion of his personal rays, and he is the Mahatattva cloud also.
He is basically everything. Mahatattva is the material cause. Yeah. Vishuddham kevalam jnanam
Vishuddham
Vishuddham
kevalam
kevalam
jnanam
jnanam
pratyak samyak avasthitam
pratyaksam
यत्तं
pratyaksham
यदवस्थितं
satyam purnam anadyantam
सत्यं
satyam
पूर्णम्
purnam
अनाद्यन्तं
anadyantam
nirgunam nityamadvayam
निर्गुणं
nirgunam
नित्यमद्वयं
nityamadvayam
vishe vidanti munaya
विषेदन्ति
Vishedanti
मुनयः
prashantatmendriya saya
prashantatmendriya
prashantatmendriya
प्रशान्तात्मेन्द्रियासः
saha
yada tat evasat tarakais
yada
यदा
yada tad eva sattarakais
virodhiyeta viplutam.
tirodhi
virodhiyeta viplutam.
विप्लुतम्
Hmm. Please read.
The personality of Godhead is pure, being free from all contaminations of material tinges. He is the absolute truth and the embodiment of full and perfect knowledge. He is all pervading without beginning or end and without rival. O Narad, O great sage, the great thinkers can know him when completely free from all material hankerings and when sheltered under undisturbed conditions of the senses. Otherwise, by untenable arguments, all is distorted and the Lord disappears from our sight.
Hmm.
Mm,
So you can actually see the Lord, the form of the Lord, right?
mm,
Yeah.
mm,
He is all pervading without beginning or end and without rival. O Narada, O great says, the great thinkers can know him when completely free from all material hankerings and when sheltered under undisturbed conditions of senses. You cannot understand by arguments.
mm.
Lord. Yeah.
Here is an estimation of the Lord apart from his transcendental activities in the temporary material creations. Mayavad philosophy tries to designate the Lord as contaminated by a material body when he accepts forms of incarnations. This sort of interpolation is completely denied herein by the explanation that the Lord's position is pure and unalloyed in all circumstances. According to Mayavad philosophy, the spirit soul, when covered by nescience, is designated as Jiv, but when freed from such ignorance or nescience, he merges in the impersonal existence of the absolute truth. But here it is said that the Lord is eternally the symbol of full and perfect knowledge. This is his speciality, perpetual freedom from all material contaminations.
Hmm. So here, Prabhupada, based on the purport here, sorry, translation here, Prabhupada is defeating Mayavada argument. So one of
Mm,
the Mayavada argument, if you have heard about it, so Mayavadis say that when Lord comes to material world,
mm,
you know what? He is called Saguna Brahman. Have you heard
mm.
about that?
Yes,
Saguna.
Prabhupada. Not much I know, yes, but yes,
But
heard.
what that means is when Lord comes to material existence,
Mm.
Lord covered by a mode of goodness, sattva guna.
Mm.
So basically, they're saying he is also covered materially.
Oh, but is that a Shuddha Sattva or
No, but so Mayavadis,
Mayavadi says only goodness? Okay,
goodness is material.
material, I see.
Yeah. So that is the misunderstanding. As per this verse, what is in our, Brahmaji say, he will be pure, being free from
Pure,
all contaminations. He is absolute truth and the embodiment of full and perfect knowledge.
good knowledge.
So it doesn't matter what condition he is, even though we were talking about creation, even as part of creation,
Mhm.
our Vishnu will remain 100% untouched by material things.
Mm.
Narada, O great says, the great thinkers can know him when completely free from all material hankerings.
So Mahavishnu's form is transcendental. Is this form still a temporary, Prabhuji, right? Or it is a permanent transcendental form?
Our Vishnu form is eternal,
Eternal form. It always exists.
always exists. Yeah.
But Garbhodasai Vishnu is
No, he is also, all these Vishnu forms are all eternal.
oh, they are always eternal. They only appear, disappear. Or descend, ascend, right?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So please read. No, we already read, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I finished the first
Prabhupada
one.
is repeating the Mayavad argument because Mayavadis say when Lord comes to the material world, Lord is covered. But based on this verse, it is not true. Right? When the Jiva comes, of course, he is covered. He is covered by a mode of ignorance and passion. But when the Jiva frees up, one option is for them to merge in impersonal Brahmajyoti, but the other option is to engage in the service of Krishna, right? You can go back to Vaikuntha also.
Hmm. Yeah. That no one can fully understand him is explained also in this verse. But the qualification for understanding to some degree is mentioned here. Only the prasantas, is it correct, bro? Prasantas or unalloyed devotee of the Lord can know him to the greater extent. The reason is that the devotees have no demands in their lives but to be obedient servants of the Lord, while all others, namely the empiric philosophers, the mystics, and the fruitive workers, all basically have some demand. And as such, they cannot be pacified. The fruitive worker wants reward for his work, and the mystic wants some perfection of life, and the empiric philosopher wants to merge into existence of the Lord. Somehow or other, as long as there is a demand for sense satisfaction, there is no chance for pacification. On the contrary, by unnecessary dry speculative argument, the whole matter becomes distorted, and thus the Lord moves still further away from our understanding.
Yeah. So everybody has some demand, whether it is a karmi or a yogi or a jnani. But a devotee is, he avoids all speculation. You just want to serve the Lord because they are
Hmm.
prasantas. Only for them, Lord gives darshan. For others, Lord will not give darshan because they have some other desire. So only Lord fulfills those desires. He will not give his darshan.
Hmm. Very powerful.
Hmm. So this is a very famous verse. Esham tva antagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavrataha. So how do we achieve pure devotion service? Esham tva antagatam papam. Your papa karma should be zero.
Zero.
Should be completely done with.
Hmm.
Te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam. Then you will be able to Bhajante mam dridavvrataha. With fixed determination, you will be able to chant and be engaged in my devotion service. Only when antagatam papam. You have to. That's why in ISKCON we follow what? What is the main activity that brings us?
Chanting the holy name.
Chanting is good, but main thing that we stop, four things we stop.
For regulative principle.
For regulative
regulative
That is
principles.
for this antagatam papam. Then jananam punyakarmanam te dvandamoha nirmukta. Then these things will happen. Dvandamoha nirmukta, and finally bhajante mam dridavvrataha. So to be engaged in pure devotion service, the pre-qualification is your zero, your count of karma, or the papa karma is zero. So let's read the translation. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are freed from dualities of delusion. And what do? They engage themselves in my service with a determination. If someone is doing very nice, fixed up devotion service, right? Day after day, year after year, know that they are already purified. Their sinful reactions are already gone, eradicated. That's why they got that kind of fixed determination to act in devotion service. Adyovatara Purusha Parasya Kala Swabhava Sadashan Manasya Dravyan Vikaro Guna Indriyani Virat Swarat Stansnu Charishnu Bhumna.
Virat Stanu Charishnu.
Yeah, please read.
Translation. Karanashai Vishnu is the first incarnation of the Supreme Lord, and he is the master of eternal time, space, cause and effects, mind, the elements, the material ego, the modes of nature, the senses, the universal form of the Lord, Garbhodakasai Vishnu, and the sum total of all living beings, both moving and non-moving.
Thank you, Satvik Prabhu. Congratulations.
Thank you, Prabhu.
So Karanarnava Sai Vishnu, he is the Mahavishnu, the original source of all material existence. Right? From him comes Mahatattva and Garbhodak Sai Vishnu, and further creation. So he is the first incarnation, first Purusha avatar, and he is the master of eternal time, space, cause and effects, mind, the elements, material. That was what we discussed in the first few verses, how the actual creation happens. And by the way, time, we should understand time. Time is not a measure of change. We consider time as a measure of change. What is time? Time is the cause of change. This is a little time, as we understand, in modern times, is very limited. But time is the cause of change. That's why in India, Muhurta is decided for acting, for any activity, because time is the most powerful driving force. Time causes the change. Time is not just a measure of change. We understand time, our understanding is completely reverse of how actually things work. So there is a whole description, and I was discussing with Radhanand Prabhu the other week, last week. We both study little deep into cosmology. Together every week we meet and we study this. So there, he has brought this idea of, not idea, his idea, it's from our scriptures only, how time works, how our understanding of time is, and what actually time is. So time fixes what things should happen at what time. Like for example, there is a specific world war should happen at a time. That is fixed. For example, in 2030, we expect a world war. Right now, it is expected. It is the same cosmological configuration as Second World War, and also the same cosmological configuration as um, the the Kurukshetra war. It is the same configuration. It is expected, and planetary combination is just a uh, correlatable factor. It's not the cause of it. It's time is the cause. Time causes a specific karma to manifest at a certain, at a at a particular um, interval of time. Let's put it that way. It's not like it can happen anytime. It will happen at its prescribed time, right? At its destined time, and time decides what karma should happen, and the required parties will come, the ones to be defeated and the ones to defeat. They will all come together based on their karma, and the incident will happen. Incident is nimitta. It's not the cause. The time is the cause. Time determines karma, and the required parties come, and they, based on their karma, one will be part of the winning and one will be part of the losing, and karma manifests there. We think in, immediate cause, like, oh, this country did this and so the war happened. No, actually it is all pre-decided. It is all, the karmic centers are fixed, but the who will participate in that is based on their individual karma, right? So that's how karma and time work together, and time is the driving force. Karma is as a block of instance thing that will happen at the time, right? So if you understand time, if you have handle on time, your life will be so peaceful because you know what is coming your way, right? So that is all, that is Jyotish Shastra, right? So if you understand little bit also, when you have to be very careful, when it is your time to do big nice things or a big thing, you have a better handle on time. I mean, we can never have handle, but at least you will be in harmony with time, I would say, right? So there are times when it's not ideal for you to act. So if we align ourselves with time, a lot of troubles in life will be gone. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, so all of these are actually sourced by Mahavishnu. Please read.
Okay. The material creation is but a temporary exhibition of the material energy of the Almighty God. This material manifestation is necessary to give a chance to the conditioned souls who are unwilling to associate with the Lord in the relationship of loving transcendental service. Such unwilling conditioned souls are not allowed to enter into the liberated life of spiritual existence because at heart they are not willing to serve. Instead, they want to enjoy themselves as imitation gods.
Yeah, so this is how so whole material manifestation, the creation by Karnodaksa Vishnu is all a chance for the conditioned souls who are rebellious to God or Krishna to actually rectify their attitude and go back to Krishna. That is the only purpose of the whole creation.
The Karanakshaya Vishnu causes the manifestation of material creation by looking over his material energy. Sa Akhi Satha. In the first volume of this book, We have already discussed to some extent the explanation of the verse Jagrahe Paurusham Rupam. The duration of the illusory play of material creation is called Kalpa. And we have already discussed the creations taking place in Kalpa after Kalpa.
Yeah.
Prabhu, I have a question.
Mhm.
Then the last verse when you are discussing the Bhagavad Gita verse 7.28,
Hmm.
Yogesham tva ante gatam papam. So now what I also understood is there is a three types of karma: prarabdha, sanchit, and kriyaman. Now once we chant the holy name, Mahamantra, then the prarabdha, is it sanchit karma goes away completely right away, like it's kind of cleaned up.
Sanchit is your totality of your karma, which is yet to be manifest. Yeah. I mean, not depends on
Hmm.
how much you are able to purify yourself, right? It will.
So okay, because I think one of the lectures I heard is moment you say the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, your Sanchit karma directly cleans up, like complete. The prarabdha stays there, and then kriyaman you keep acquiring, and they that goes into the Sanchit as well as prarabdha. Depends.
Correct. So prarabdha is what is already, like for example, prarabdha is like you already purchased a ticket and already went to the airport and
Hmm.
boarded the plane. You
Right.
cannot stop in the middle. It's already the flight has started.
Started. So you have to go through it.
You have to go through it. But at the same time, the effect will be minimized if
If you start chanting holy name
right.
in your state.
Of karma will be reduced. Even prarabdha also.
Right, right.
Prarabdha is already um, being manifest because uh, that is already in progress. So you cannot change much. For example, you can study so much or you can earn so much. That is all fixed. You cannot really change a lot,
Got it.
right? But
Yes.
Sanchit is what you will be manifesting over the next million lifetimes.
Hmm.
That we can be eradicated a lot,
Very good.
both good as well as.
So when you say lot, you're saying that there's no guarantee that it completely goes away, but it reduces up to the some effect of the sadhaka's chanting. Is that?
Yeah, it depends on because most of us we are still chanting in Namabhasa. Namabhasa is not very purifying. It's sometimes if you offensively chant, it is going to be even bad than not chanting. You know, sometimes because you develop material desires,
Uh-huh.
bad chanting. Uh, so it it is purifying to the extent we are sincere and you're doing
Hmm.
proper chanting.
Got it. The reason I'm bringing this point because moment who has chanted even a single mantra, just we have Bhagavatam story of one of the devotee who Narayan who said a Narayan name Ajamil.
Hmm.
So even a single mantra erased all his previous life's karmic reaction. So and I wanted to understand that effect and also want to understand is once we chant a mantra once, then which state we are in? We are in the Shuddha Sattva state, we are in the mode of goodness, or we are nowhere.
Yeah, but he chanted with full dependence. He's losing life at the time, right?
Yes, yes.
Kamila he chanted Narayana with utmost surrender.
But he did not chant for Krishna, right? He chant for his
Chant for
he
Krishna,
said it for his son's name.
but the mood is one of utter surrender because he was
Mm.
so afraid of the situation.
Mm.
Even though he did not mean the Lord himself.
Mm.
Lord considered out of causeless mercy. Again,
Mm.
it's a causeless mercy. When I say causeless, it doesn't need to happen for everyone.
Yeah, you don't need to have explanation for that. It's up to the Lord.
So he was saved like that, but that is only to show the power of the holy name, not
Mm.
to or
Not to give the example as to for everyone, right? Got it.
Exactly. So it is Nama is all powerful. That's what it shows.
Yes.
But it has to be chanted also effectively, right? We are chanting, but if our chanting is very pure, then of course it will have its effect.
Yes, yes. So the person can go into the Shuddha Sattva state, or it will go into the
Usually, when he achieves Bhava Bhakti, yes, he will go to Suddha Sattva.
at some
So
point, right?
in the heart, it manifests. The
Got
Suddha Sattva will manifest. Right now, the three modes are manifest in our heart. You know,
Got it.
the three modes have to be eliminated and replaced by Shuddha Sattva.
Shuddha Sattva,
In
I got
Nectar
it.
of Devotion, we study that, right? And
Yes.
when the heart is crying for Krishna,
Mm.
with any impulse or um, anything that makes you remember Krishna, if your heart is crying, then Suddhasattva started manifesting in your heart, right?
Mm.
So any impulse, any slight instigation, you see something and you remember Krishna, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? He would see some sand, he would remember Govardhan, for example, and he was constantly asking, Krishna for darshan like that. And he would see also. Sometimes he would see, and while he was trying to run and catch, Lord again disappears.
Yes.
So in that state, your heart is filled with Suddha Sattva.
Yeah, I have seen so few devotees were like that in the current form. Yeah. Yes. Yes, makes sense, Prabhu. Now. Thank you, Prabhu.
This is what we are reading, right?
Yeah, 43 will go now. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu.
Aham bhavo yajna. Aham bhavo yajna ime prajesha.
Aham bhavo ya
Prajesha
Dakshatayo ye bhavadayascha. Lokapala, Kagalokapala,
Lokapala Lokapala
Lokapala, Stala Lokapala,
Lokapala Stalalokapala
Gandharva Vidya Dharacharanesha,
Gandharva Vidya Dharacharanesha
Yaksharaksho Ragana Ganata,
Yeksharaksho Ragana Ganata
Yevarishinam Rishabha Pitrinam, Daitendra Siddheswara Danavendra,
Daitendra Siddheshwara
Ye cha ye preta pisacha bhuta,
Preta Pisacha
Ushmandayado Mrigapakshi Adisha,
Kushmandayado Mrigapakshiyadisha
Yakincha loke Bhagavan Mahaswad,
Yakinchaloke Bhagavan Mahaswad
Sahaswad Balavat Kshamavat,
Puja Sahaswad Balavat Kshamavat
Shri Hri Vibhuti Atmavat Abhutaram Nam
Sri
Sri Vibhuti Atmavat Abhutaram
Tattvam Param Rupavat Asvarupam,
Tattvam Param Rupavat Asvarupam
almost 1, 2, 3, 3.5. Please read.
I myself, Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, great generators of living beings like Daksha and Prajapati, yourself, Narada Muni, Narada and Kumaras, heavenly demigods like Indra and Chandra, the leaders of the Burloka planets, the leaders of the earthly planets, the leaders of the lower planets, the leaders of the Gandharva planet, the leaders of the Vidyadhara planets, the leaders of the Charana Loka planets, the leaders of the Yakshas, Rakshasas, and the Uragas, the great sages, the great demons, the great atheists, and the great spacemen, as well as the dead bodies, evil spirits, Shatans, Jinn, Kushmandas, great aquatics, great beasts, and great birds, etc. In other words, anything and everything which is exceptionally possessed of power, opulence, mental, and perpetual dexterity, strength, forgiveness, beauty, modesty, opulence, and breeding, whether in form or formless, may appear to be the specific truth and the form of the Lord, but actually they are not so. They are only a fragment of the transcendental potency of the Lord.
So you see, so how is this verse appearing to you? He was talking about so many great personalities and
10th
great.
chapter. I'm remembering Bhagavad Gita 10th chapter. And wherever you see the greatness in this material world, we have to remember Krishna. Everything is coming from him only. So Krishna is the main important center for everything.
So all great things are just a small fraction of Krishna's transcendental potency. That is what is told in the 10th chapter. Whatever manifestations you see, if they are especially great, you should see them as just a small fragment of transcendental potency of the Lord. So basically Brahma is confessing the same thing. See, this is how parampara is always synchronous. Brahma states the same thing, Krishna states the same thing, Bhagavad Gita. We see our understanding and comprehension will be confirmed in various scriptures because of the cohesiveness of the understanding. You see, the details may vary a little bit here and there based on scripture, but the conclusive truths are all same. Right? So now we understand very well that this is a fact, because it is confirmed in various places in the same way. There is no confusion between scriptures. But a lot of people, a lot of other so-called gurus and teachers, they teach different things in every book, and because there is no parampara. But here we can see how everything is aligned. Yeah, please read.
Yeah, sure. Prabhuji. Those in the list given above, beginning from the name Brahmaji, the first living creature within the universe, down to Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, Narada, and other powerful demigods, men, supermen, sages, rishis, and other lower creatures of extraordinary strength and opulence, including the dead bodies, Satans, evil spirits, jinn, aquatics, birds, and beasts, may appear to be the Supreme Lord, but factually, none of them is the Supreme Lord. Every one of them possesses only a fragment of the great potencies of the Supreme Lord. The less intelligent man is surprised to see the wonderful actions of material phenomena, and as the aborigines are fearful of a great thunderbolt, a great and gigantic banyan tree, or a great lofty mountain in the jungle. For such undeveloped human beings, merely the sight display of the Lord's potency is captivating. A still more advanced person is captivated by the powers of the demigods and goddess. Therefore, those who are simply astonished by the powers of anything in the creation of the Lord without any factual information of the Lord himself are known as Shaktas or worshippers of the great powers. The modern scientist is also captivated by the wonderful actions and reactions of natural phenomena, and therefore is also a Shakta. These lower grade persons gradually rise to become Shauryas, worshippers of the sun god, or Ganapatyas, worshippers of the mass of people, as Janata Janardana, or Daridra, Narayana, etc., in the form of Ganapati, and then raise to the platform of worshipping Lord Shiva in search for the ever existing soul, and then to the stage of worshipping Lord Vishnu, the super soul, etc. Without any information of Govinda, Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, um, Lord Krishna, who is the original Lord Vishnu. In other ways, some are worshippers of race, nationality, birds, beasts, evil spirits, satans, etc. The general worship of Shani Deva, the Lord of distressful condition, and Sitala Devi, the goddess of smallpox, is also common to the mass of people, and there are many foolish men who worship the mass of people or the poor class of men.
So we can see Prabhupada described here the different levels of worship, starting with people who wonder nature's phenomena, and that is also covers the scientists who discover the natural laws. Right? They observe nature empirically, they put together some observations from which they can come up with a theory and also show formulas. Right? They're all natural laws. Without nature, without the Lord being there, who is the one who is actually putting the laws together, right? Who is actually manifesting the laws? So they don't really care for the person who is manifesting the laws or the creating the laws. They only look at the laws and worship the nature. So those are called Shaktas. Scientists also, a scientist cannot be there if he does not believe that nature is orderly. You see, Einstein believes that there is order in the nature. Whether that order is caused by God or not, but they firmly believe that there is orderliness in the world. Without the orderliness being there, they cannot rely on a thing to become a law. Their job is just to discover the laws in the nature, right? So this kind of worship is called Shakta worship, right? They understand there are these natural phenomena that is they don't know the source of it, but they believe that there is that natural wonder or great power that is causing different things. So that's called Shakta worship. And then worshippers of sun god called Shauryas, worshipper of people, Daridra Narayana worship done by Mahatma Gandhi, Ganapatyas they are called. So these are all lower grades of worship because they don't know that Krishna is the source of everything and everyone. So gradually they rise to the platform of worshipping Lord Shiva, where they accept the eternal principle of this jiva, of this soul, right? So their goal is to merge into impersonal Brahmajyoti. So they worship Lord Shiva. Higher than that is worshipping Lord Krishna, right? So that is the highest. So this way the hierarchy of worship is described by Prabhupada here. But in this verse, it is advised by Brahmaji that none of them is the Supreme Lord. They're only borrowed plumes from the original Almighty Lord Krishna. When the Lord advises in Bhagavad Gita to worship Him alone, it is to be understood that worshipping Lord Krishna includes worshipping all that is mentioned because He includes everyone. There is no need to worship any other demigod separately. Even if you have material desires, go worship Krishna only because He knows how to give you the right thing. He's like your father. He knows what is best for you and gives that. Pradhanyato yan risha amananti
Pradhanyato
Leela Vataran Purushashrabhumna.
लीलावतारान्
पुरुषस्य भूम्नः
अपीयतां कर्णकषायशोषान् क्रमिष्येत इमान् सुपेशान्
ननु क्रमश्चेत इमान् स्वेषान्.
So far, the conversation is between Narada and Brahma, where Narada is the disciple, Brahma is the guru, and he inquired about the creation, the various questions about creation, about 6 questions. Now all those were answered with the last verse, the how the manifestation is absorbed back into body of Lord Vishnu. That's also explained. Now, after telling all of this, Brahmaji tells Narada, okay, sir, okay, Narada Muni, you have asked me all these questions. Thank you, I answered. Now I will ask I want to, without you asking me, I want to tell you something that is very close to my heart. What is that? Leelavataran Purushasya Bhumna. The Leelas of this great Lord. When Lord comes to this world and manifests Leelas, they're the sweetest pastimes. I want to talk about them now. Because a devotee is interested in the pastimes of Lord, is enchanted by it. So next chapter is going to be completely about it. So that's what is telling now. So you asked until now, but I want to talk about this. Why Karna Kashaya Shosha? What does it do? Whatever Kashaya or foul matter in the ears that we hear all about material things, all of that will, Shoshan means evaporates, completely evaporates. And Supeshan means it is very, very pleasing to hear. Pastimes of Lord are very, very pleasing to the heart, right? Yeah. So I want to speak about that. That's what Brahmaji is saying, and he will speak about that next chapter. Please read.
O
Yeah.
Narada, now I shall state one after another the transcendental incarnations of the Lord known as Leelavataras. Hearing of their activities counteracts all foul matters accumulated in the ear. These pastimes are pleasing to hear and are to be relished. Therefore, they are in my heart.
Are pleasing to hear and are to be relished. That is why so this is what really pleases the heart. Hearing about the pastimes of the Lord. And there is nothing that heart gets satisfied other than hearing the pastimes of the Lord. So this is the right solution for the heart.
As it was said in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.8, one cannot be fully satisfied by hearing unless and until one is given a chance to hear of the transcendental activities of the Lord. So, Brahmaji is also trying in this verse to stress the importance of narrating the transcendental pastimes of the Lord as he comes and manifests himself here on the surface of the material planets. Every living entity has a tendency to hear pleasing messages, and as such, almost every one of us is inclined to hear news and talks broadcast by the radio stations. But the difficulty is that no one is satisfied at heart by hearing all those messages. The cause of such dissatisfaction is the incompatibility of the message with the innermost stratum of the living soul. This transcendental literature is especially prepared by Srila Vyasadeva to give the utmost satisfaction to the people in general by narration of the activities of the Lord, as instructed by Sri Narada Muni to Srila Vyasadeva. Such activities of the Lord are principally of two varieties. One concerns the mundane manifestation of the material creative force, and the other deals with his pastimes in the form of different incarnations in terms of the time and place. There are innumerable incarnations of the Lord, like the waves of the river flowing constantly in and out. Less intelligent persons takes more interest in the creative forces of the Lord in the material world, and being disconnected from their relationship with the Lord, they put forward many theories of the creation in the name of scientific research. The devotees of the Lord, however, know well how the creative forces work concurrently by the action and reaction of the material energy of the Lord. Therefore, they take more interest in the transcendental activities of the Lord as he incarnates himself on the surface of the material world. Srimad Bhagavatam is the history of such activities of the Lord, and people who take interest in hearing Srimad Bhagavatam clear their hearts of accumulated mundane filth.
Devotees of the Lord, however, know well how the creative forces work concurrently by the action and reaction of material energy of the Lord. Therefore, they take more interest in the transcendental activities of the Lord as he incarnates himself on the surface of the material world. So devotees are interested in this, which is glorification or of the activities of the Supreme Lord and when he manifests in the material existence. So that is the topic for the next chapter. It is very much like third chapter of first canto, where various incarnations are described in brief. So we'll discuss that next week. Some of you are giving exams, so if you want to, we can jump to that at 4:30. So thank you all very much for joining.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.